hate, just take it and laugh now. Big dope to the face, got me topped out.
Business School of Cambridge University. From 2017 to 2021, I've had a wild university journey. 3 years of studying economics, 1 in Sydney and 2 at the University of York in the UK, and now I'm doing a master's at drama school. Soon, my university journey is about to end as I finish my master's, but before I make the transition of going from Student Vlogs Dylan to just Dylan and truly embarking on the mission of adulthood in a few months' time, I've decided to take on the task of reviewing every university in the UK. So, welcome back to episode 3 of the University Review series. Today, we are taking a look at the University of Cambridge. Now, as you may or may not know, Cambridge is probably one of the most infamous universities in the whole entire world. It's often considered the UK's best university, and in my recent poll where 1,156 of you guys voted, we discovered that Cambridge was by far what we kind of thought was the best university in the UK according to that poll. So today's episode is going to be very interesting. There's a lot to live up to. So we're going to be taking a look at the good, the bad, the campus, the rankings, the nightlife, the culture at Cambridge. So you basically get a massive rundown of what the university is like. So I have actually been inside the Cambridge Business School, and I have actually visited Cambridge and the uni and the colleges myself. So I can speak firsthand for a lot of these things. Now, what is the University of Cambridge known for? Well, it's known for being one of the most historic universities in the world. When was it founded? Good question. Cambridge University was founded in 1209, which is still 100 years later than Oxford, but I mean, who cares really? Who cares when it was founded? It's historic, but imagine what they was learning about in 1209. I feel like I definitely would have got first in a lot of things back then. So Cambridge is also known for being one of the hardest universities to get into. It's believed there is around 46,000 applications for 8,000 places, giving us roughly about a 17% chance of acceptance. And I think as well that figure partially comes from so many people just knowing they're probably not going to get into Cambridge and so they don't apply. But out of the ones that roughly have a choice and are encouraged to apply, a 17% success rate is very low. Now, it's located in the east of England, below Peterborough, above London. Probably I'd say roughly in the Midlands, but you know, everywhere's in the Midlands. Now, within the UK University League tables, Cambridge was ranked number 1. When I ran my own poll and tier list, it was also ranked number 1. The most respected uni in the UK. So my experience in Cambridge was very nice. I went punting, which is a classic thing. You basically get on a boat and somebody kind of paddles you along down this river, and you can kind of see the historic colleges, all of the Cambridge buildings. And it, you know, in a way, it's very similar to some of the stuff in York because, you know, the buildings are very old school, very nice. And I actually visited one of the colleges, went to the libraries, saw the accommodation, and you know what? Roll the clips right now. As you can see, it's very nice, very lovely spaces, very much. It felt like a nice environment to be in. We're exploring Downing College. This is the first. This is the local college library. So that's why I'm struggling. That is why. God damn it. I also had a little trip to the business school, Cambridge Business School, and facilities top notch. And when you're just going around there, there's something about it where you feel like, yeah, I'm in Cambridge Business School, lots of smart people. It was just, the atmosphere was very clean and inspiring. I found the business school of Cambridge University. Cheers. Oh, cheers. Once I made it in the building, I had a look at the timetable. And you can see the only things that were left on were meetings. And I did find the lecture hall, but I'm pretty sure there were no lectures on. But yeah, let's roll some other videos of the campus and the facilities so we can get a true look at what it's like. So surprisingly, the University of Cambridge does not have an official tour video, which, considering it's one of the most infamous unis in the world, is quite bad, I'd say. But yeah, here's some footage that somebody kindly has put on YouTube that I'll leave linked below, of the colleges, of some of the campus, of some of the sort of rough vibe of Cambridge University. And there's some buildings here where you have lectures, some where you'd have, classes, and others where you just live and sleep and eat in the colleges. And I feel a bit let down by Cambridge University as they don't have an official tour video, or an official tour video that's easy to find on YouTube. And also, Cambridge as a city is very heavily tech focused. So if you did want to kind of go to uni there, likelihood is you could probably get a really good job staying in Cambridge after, and which is, I think, a pretty cool thing to stay integrated with the uni after you finish your degree. And personally, probably the main perk for going to Cambridge University for me would have been the YouTube clout it gives you, because if you stick a Cambridge logo on any video, the people are going to like it more, people are going to watch it. Look, for example, Ali Abdul. That man is a great YouTuber. He would have been successful anyway, but the clout that University of Cambridge gave him, and the same for people at Oxford, it propels your career forward a lot faster. So Cambridge carries a bit of respect with it on and offline. Another infamous thing about Cambridge, it relates to the getting in process. The first stage of once your application's been accepted, you get offered an interview, so it's really the second stage. And in this interview, you sit down with a professional, and they kind of ask you some questions, they look at your thought process, and essentially, they then decide if you should be admitted onto the course or not. They basically try to suss you out, see what you've got about you. Now, I believe these tests are very infamous. You can watch hundreds of YouTube videos saying about how to ace these interviews. There's even an official Cambridge University guide.
The Cambridge interview process is it's very important to see this as one part of the assessment. So we look at many things about each candidate. In our minds, when we're doing an interview, the sorts of things we're thinking about are whether or not the person in front of us has the right kind of background knowledge needed for our courses.
Yeah, I think when one of my friends went for an interview, they asked him about how many stars are in the solar system or something like that. And it's not just about how smart you are, because I remember reading this story of this person that was on Child Genius for one of the things, and he had an interview at Oxford, I believe, and he just didn't get in. So they're not clout chasing interviews. They're not based on how smart you are, although that will really help you, I guess. But these interviews are really an infamous process unique to Oxford and Cambridge, and they're tough. They're pretty tough. So we got so far that the campus-based uni is very good. We've got that the town is tech heavy and very nice. A lot of history behind it, which is kind of good when you're looking for a uni because it's got a long-standing reputation. It's internationally respected. If you're trying to be a YouTuber, again, it's probably not a bad shout to go to Cambridge because it carries that clout. And the degrees that you get are very well respected. I mean, I'd probably rather have a 2-2 from Cambridge than a first from many other unis in the UK. And while I've got friends that go there, my friends say that, yeah, it's Cambridge, but the lectures still can be boring, like, let's say, the lectures at York or like the lectures elsewhere, but some of them are interesting, some are boring. It's the same in that respect. But really, the quality of information that you're going to be learning is a lot better, a lot harder, and supposedly some of the professors there are more highly respected. They got bigger funding and they're probably working on bigger stuff. So in terms of academics, you're probably going to be a lot better off than you would be elsewhere. So yeah, nice pretty campus, all them other good things. And then another unique thing to Cambridge and Oxford, and as we know, I've talked about it a lot, so I bang on about collegiate systems because I'm a big fan, like when I was in Australia. Cambridge has a collegiate system where I think when you apply, you actually are interviewed by the colleges and they decide, etc., etc. But Cambridge is split up into these different colleges where you basically stay for the majority of your time at uni, and they try to, have full board, can have food, and you kind of really get a sense of community in the colleges. That's why I love them so much. And then you might play collegiate sport together, go on college events, have dinner together in the evening. And I think for me, when you're going to university for the experience, having that sort of college not only is a foundation for friends, for learning, for fostering the whole university experience, but it really adds to the experience. And I think it also gives you a lot better connection with any potential alumni, which is obviously a great thing for when you leave because, if somebody's been to your college and, a few years above you and is now doing really well, and you say, I also went to this college at Cambridge, you're going to connect like this. So the most popular Cambridge colleges are Trinity, St John's and Jesus because they've supposedly got the historic kind of architecture and they really provide that old school traditional experience of Cambridge that kind of dates back to its historic times. And there's quite a few colleges at Cambridge and there's quite a few departments and stuff like that. But anyway, enough about colleges. Now, another big factor when it comes to universities is nightlife, like what you need to choose. Nightlife and that sort of thing is going to have a huge impact, especially if you're going for the experience Although I feel like if you get into Cambridge, you'd go because of the historic reputation, the academia, a bit more than you would, let's say, another Russell Group university. So nightlife, still important and good to know about, but probably wouldn't make or break your decision between Cambridge and another university. But surprisingly, when the worst nightlife places and universities were revealed, Cambridge wasn't in that list. And I say surprisingly, not because I think it's bad, but because often you find that people who donkey vote in these polls go, oh, this is the highest academia standard, it must be boring. And that's not always the case. It's not always the case. When it came to not nightlife, but just most boring universities in general, Cambridge got a 1% share of a vote, so again, not even too high, which I thought was quite good. And as I always say, with nightlife and stuff like that, it depends on the people you find when you're out and about and when you're at uni. And I actually think that colleges really enhance the chances of having great nights out. And, you know, that's speaking from experience. And as well, Cambridge is also known for having these spectacular balls every now and then. So I give it to them on nightlife. It's not going to be as heavy or as good as Leeds or stuff like that. And yeah, because of the strenuous workload, there is probably going to be less people going out from uni in total, but people still go out, you know, apparently. That's what I've heard. And finally, the last thing that people talk about when it comes to Cambridge uni is the people. Are they boring? Are they good? And to be quite frank, I don't know. Like, you know, it's hard to survey people, but I think if you looked at the correlation between people being boring and the level of academia and entry standards and the pressure of the course, there probably is going to be a correlation, but minor. You'll always find people who are great. I don't think there's no need to label the people at the university, but obviously, as any student will know, when the academia gets tough, you have less time to go and do stuff. Cambridge University. Let me know exactly what you think in the comments down below. Are you there now? Did I sum it up? Did I get it wrong? But thank you so much for watching and tuning into episode 3. Please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you again soon. Thank you.
All up in my head, that's how I behave. Passing up the same, waking up the same. All up in my head, that's just how I behave.